This is why you need to vote with your conscience. Voting is not just a civic duty, it is a moral imperative. Every vote cast is a reflection of our values and beliefs. As Christians, we are called to be the light in the darkness, to stand up for what is right, and to make our voices heard in the public square. Our faith is not confined to the walls of our churches, it extends into every aspect of our lives, including the political arena. Your faith demands it. The teachings of Christ compel us to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. This means we cannot be passive observers in the face of moral and social decay. We must be active participants in shaping a society that reflects the values of the kingdom of God. Our vote is a powerful tool in this endeavor, and we must wield it wisely. As Christians, especially Catholics, we face a moral crossroads in the 2024 election. The choices we make at the ballot box will have profound implications for the future of our nation and the world. We are not just voting for candidates, we are voting for the kind of society we want to live in. A society that respects the sanctity of life, upholds the dignity of every person, and protects religious freedom. Kamala Harris represents values that stand in direct opposition to our faith. Her policies and positions on key issues are antithetical to the teachings of the Church. As a public figure, she has consistently advocated for policies that undermine the moral fabric of our society. Her stance on abortion, in particular, is deeply troubling and cannot be reconciled with the pro-life teachings of the Church. Her support for abortion rights, even up to and after birth, is a grave sin that we cannot ignore. The sanctity of life is a fundamental tenet of our faith, and we must defend it at all costs. Abortion is not just a political issue, it is a moral crisis that demands our attention and action. We cannot, in good conscience, support a candidate who promotes such a grave evil. This isn't just about policies, it's about spiritual warfare. We are engaged in a battle for the soul of our nation, and the stakes could not be higher. The forces of darkness are at work, seeking to undermine the values and principles that have made our nation great. As Christians, we must stand firm in our faith and resist the tide of moral relativism and secularism that threatens to engulf us. Look at the world right now. Wars rage, inflation skyrockets, and moral decay infiltrates our nation. These are not just random occurrences, they are the result of a society that has turned its back on God. We are reaping the consequences of our collective choices, and the only way to reverse this trend is to return to the values and principles that have guided us for centuries. Under Harris and Biden, the sanctity of life, traditional family values, and religious freedoms are under attack. Their administration has consistently pushed for policies that erode the moral foundation of our society. From promoting the LGBTQ+ agenda to supporting radical abortion policies, they have shown a blatant disregard for the values that we hold dear. Harris's radical left agenda promotes the LGBTQ+ ideology, supports Black Lives Matter, and pushes for more abortion access. These positions are not just political, they are deeply moral issues that strike at the heart of our faith. We cannot remain silent in the face of such blatant attacks on our values. We must speak out and take action to defend the principles that we hold dear. These aren't just political issues. They are moral issues that profoundly affect the soul of our nation and our faith. Our vote is a reflection of our values and beliefs, and we must ensure that it aligns with the teachings of the Church. We cannot afford to be complacent or indifferent in the face of such grave moral challenges. We must take a stand and make our voices heard. It is our grave obligation to vote for the lesser evil. While Donald Trump is not perfect, none of us are. We are all sinners in need of God's grace, but we must recognize that Trump has taken a stand on key issues that align more closely with our faith. He has defended the sanctity of life, supported religious freedom, and promoted policies that uphold traditional family values. He stands against the tide of moral decay and fights for the values that align more closely with our faith. Voting for Kamala Harris is not just a political choice, it's a spiritual decision with eternal consequences. We must consider the long-term implications of our choices and ensure that they align with the teachings of the Church. Stand firm in your faith. Do not be swayed by the winds of political correctness or the pressures of the world. Remember that our ultimate allegiance is to God and His kingdom. We must remain steadfast in our commitment to the values and principles of our faith, even in the face of opposition and criticism. Vote for life, vote for family, vote for religious freedom. These are the values that have guided us for centuries and that we must continue to uphold. Vote with your faith. Our faith is not just a private matter, it is a public witness to the values and principles of the Kingdom of God. We must ensure that our vote reflects our commitment to these values and principles. Let us stand firm in our faith and make our voices heard in defense of the values that we hold dear.